Hey guys, RW here, and I just wanted to get back to that flash Bainite armor that's going to be showing up in a day or two here. I'm going to be testing it, and I'm thinking of adding it to my product line. Now, you could buy this directly from the man who makes it, but he just sells raw steel. It's not painted. It needs to be sandblasted, really, to give it some surface adhesion, and then it needs to be coated with a durable epoxy paint. And that's the kind of stuff I do. I've got sandblasting equipment, I paint, all that stuff. So I was thinking, without, I don't like to, I don't know how to explain this, but I like to run my business in a very transparent manner. Probably why I'm not a great businessman, but it's also how I build what I feel is a loyal clientele, people that I can respect and that respect me back because I'm not taking advantage of anyone. So of course I'm going to run this by Gary Cole. I'm going to see how he feels about it, but I want to see about buying quantities of plates from him, prepping them and painting them so that they don't rust and so that they're ready to go. I mean, his plates, the way they come, they're just stamped steel, and I don't know if you guys know anything about prep work and paint and stuff, but it's not something that just everybody can do. I mean, if you live in an apartment, for instance, and you buy one of these plates, you're not exactly going to want to break out the sander or whatever and sit there and hand sand it, or you could if you wanted to. So you couldn't, but I thought it might be a nice thing just to offer painted up plates that I have tested and proven with my YouTube videos will withstand any high-powered rifle round. So, and along the lines of the testing, that's the part I'm excited about because at this time I don't have a high-powered rifle, but I'm looking at a handy rifle. A gentleman that I ran into at Walmart, we ended up talking and getting along pretty well and exchanged phone numbers, and he mentioned that he has a handy rifle, which is single shot 308, and that it would be for sale. And I'm like, wow. So I checked them out, and they were very cool little rifles, and the only 308 that Handy Rifle makes is an extremely cool looking one with a pistol grip, thumb hole, ambidextrous, synthetic stock, single shot that you can mount a scope on. It's got Picatinny rail. So I'm like, wow, cool. This is like the coolest one. So why wouldn't it be? And while I'm rambling here, you guys can watch my cats interact. You're gonna see some drama. You're gonna see some drama, man. She's letting him know she's not up for it. And she's thinking about high ground. Lord have mercy. Really. All he wants to do is be your buddy. He is the biggest, sweetest cat ever. Okay, anyway. So what I want to do is some testing, obviously. And now, just hitting it with 308, that's a pretty good test. If you've ever seen a 308 cartridge, you'll know that that is one hell of a cartridge. That makes an AK look like a pistol cartridge, And it's a pretty stout round, guys. But I'm going to see if my this fellow I ran into, I can't call him my friend, but this fellow I ran into that seems like a real nice guy. He's a marksman. He's an older fellow, a vet, and he has quite a collection of different caliber, high-powered rifles. He even has rifles where he does his own hand loading and stuff. So he has a rifle he says is putting out slightly over 4,000 feet per second. I'm like, really? Yeah. So I think it's a 22-250, and that would be a great test. And since he's a marksman and apparently has a place to shoot, I was thinking of just leaving the plate with him, the test plate, and a paint pen, and just ask him if he'd be kind enough when he has time to slam it with everything he's got and try to put a hole in it, and just to mark, circle the shots and mark the grain and caliber and the range, that would be really an awesome thing if he would do that. And it might be fun for him because it would give him something to shoot at, and he can try and punch a hole through it. And knowing him, since he can lace shots according to his descriptions of his marksmanship, he could probably just put bullet after bullet into the same hole until he finally punched a hole in it, knowing this fella. So that would be a neat test. But I'd also like to do some live testing on my own with the camera running for you guys to watch, specifically to test for splatter. What I'm looking at is what happens when you have a zero oblique, which means the bullet's coming straight at the plate, and then the splatter is going to go off to the sides. And I'm going to build a rig just out of cardboard that encloses the whole plate and comes out, about 2 feet or so, and shoot into that, and then we can look at all the holes it makes in the cardboard all the way around it, and that would be holes in your arms and neck and thighs and stuff like that. And then Gary sent me a prototype splatter shield, which he's come up with for his plates, and I would love to test that and see if that mitigates the splatter. There's also guys that have coated these steel plates with rhino coat, and they think that that may have some kind of a splatter slowdown. The real way to do this, obviously, is to spend about $100 and get a soft Kevlar pad to put in front of it. That's what most guys do. They do what I've been able to research is there's layers of polyethylene film and Kevlar cloth, and it's just layers, and then that's sewn into a Kevlar bag basically, and what happens is that the bullet will go through that mostly or all the way, depending on the rifle round, probably go all the way through it, hit the steel, but the splatter will be trapped by this pad, which is in a cover which is over the whole plate. That's what makes these plates so expensive. It's not just a steel plate, it's a steel plate or a ceramic plate with a bunch of Kevlar and polyethylene in front of it. It's nothing beyond what any of us could do on our own. It's just the materials are very expensive. Aramid fiber is quite expensive by the yard. It's like $100 a yard or something. You'd have to cut it into little 10 by 12 sections and sew it up and put a cover that would hold it against the plate without it shifting too much, and then that would give you some real protection if you got hit by a lot of rifle rounds. Sounds very expensive to me. Gary came up with a different idea. I want to see his idea. I don't have much to say about it until I get it out of the box, and we'll look at it together. What I'm real interested in is once I get some testing done on the plate, seeing if there's anybody out here watching my videos with some seriously high-powered rifles that would like to shoot at this plate, and I'll mail it to you. And if you'd like to, you could post videos about it, or you can just shoot it and circle your shots and send it back, because I'd like to use this test plate to really hammer on it and see what it'll do. Interested in it. And like I said, I was thinking of adding it to something along the lines of a product line of things I might sell to my YouTube viewers here. May even list it on eBay, depending on, I don't want to compete with Gary. What I want to offer is a finished plate, a painted plate. And I want to test the rhino coat, because some guys are rhino coating these. But I've also heard that the rhino coat just falls off in big chunks after you take a shot. So the second shot is the splatter shot. So if you get shot twice, pow pow, big chunk falls off and then splatter. But I'd like to test it. I haven't, and it also depends on how somebody prepared the plate. Like, for instance, if you sandblast it, then put on an epoxy paint, and then put on rhino coat so it really grips the epoxy paint, that might really grip on there a lot better than, say, if you just rhino coated some steel that you didn't even prep, right? So you might have different results depending on how carefully you prepare the product. So I'm going to do test patches if I can. I'm going to try and get a guy here locally that can spray those bed liner things, to spray a section so I can test it. And the whole idea is to find out what the plates can do and what they can't do, and how much they'll protect you and how much they might injure you anyway if you were still wearing it. For instance, if the plate really deforms and buckles in a whole lot, that's why you want a big foam pad between you and the steel plate. You don't want that steel plate to be touching your body. The shock could stop your heart. You've got to have some damping behind the plate. You've got to have some polyethylene and Kevlar in front of it to catch the splatter, And that's why these things cost like $500 when you buy them. There's a big padded plate, usually ceramic inside. Ceramic doesn't survive after a couple of hits, it just shatters. So it stopped the first couple hits. But if you want a real protective area in front of you and on your sides and everything, you make these giant, very expensive, padded, sappy type plates. And I'm trying to look at ways that we guys, normal guys, civilians on a budget, could get a hold of something that's just about as good that we could put in our closet in case we ever need it. You know what I'm saying? Just looking out for everybody and myself and trying to promote this guy's product, because I think it's a very important thing, this evolution in metallurgy. This flash Bainite process that he's developed is unique, and it's being repressed by the usual bullshit that happens in the market. Anything new that comes out that competes with everything else they're either going to try and buy it or squash it, because they want to keep making money with their product. So it's very important to me to see things like this that could really make a huge difference. It's a very green process, for instance. It uses less energy to do its job, to make this material. So it's much better than common heat quenched plate type processes. There's a lot of reasons to adopt this guy's idea. It's a very big change it could bring to the whole industry. But anyway, don't want to ramble on too much about that. I just want to let you know why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this to make $5 or $10, which I might make $5 or $10 on these things. I'm doing it to try and promote the guy, and also to have some fun, shoot at some steel, do some testing. I love doing testing, and I love shooting. So shooting and testing something, and maybe developing something, and coming up with something that's affordable, that's protection for everybody. That would be kind of cool, you know. And at this time, as far as I can tell, it's as long as you're not a criminal, and there's no laws in your particular locale prohibiting it. As far as I know, you are not prohibited from having a chunk of steel in your house. You know what I'm saying? A piece of painted steel sitting in your closet is not going to get you arrested. From what I can tell at this point, things may change, folks. All right, thanks for watching. Appreciate your time.